you write up your meeting with Norman?
Yes, it's being typed.
What are your conclusions?
Well, I know Joe was a brooder. If only we could prove that it was he, not Rodney, that was the aggressor. It was substantiated Rodney's claim that Joe came at him first with the gaffing hook.
Then you're looking for intention on Joe's part. How do you propose to find it?
Well, Joe may have expressed his mood, his anger towards the Harrington boys the day of the incident.
All right. Find out with whom Joe was talking and to whom Fowler is talking.
Yes, sir. Oh, I prepared this.
Is this really necessary?
I thought it best to have it ready. I asked the court to order the district attorney's office to give us the names of any persons who may have witnessed the incident or gave statements. Provide us with copies of the statements and give us permission to view any evidence. I've included a page of points and authorities.
That's very thorough. But need we be so formal? I'd intended to ask Fowler for this information before the preliminary hearing. Quite sure he'd give it to us.
He didn't strike me as the kind of man who'd give anything away.
In our legal system, even a prosecuting attorney is innocent till he's proven guilty.
I did a little research on our prosecutor over the weekend.
Oh?
I phoned an old classmate of mine. He's a junior associate with Hazlitt and Blackman. Fowler worked there for a year in corporation law.
You make that sound like a pronouncement of doom. It isn't a sin for a young man to leave a big firm and start out on his own.
Yes, but consider the logic. Most lawyers who start out in public service to gain experience enter private practice when the opportunity comes along. John Fowler did just the opposite. He started in a lucrative position with a solid future and gave it up to work for the state.
And you're concluding he has political ambitions?
If he does, this case is just the springboard he's been waiting for. Why, with names like Peyton and Harrington involved, he's got built-in headlines. Either one of those names will give him the front page publicity he needs.
If that's what he's after.
If he isn't, he's wasting a lot of time. Prep did Choate, magna cum laude at Yale, editor of the Law Review, passed up a plum position in the Judge Advocates Corps to Interflight School, presently a major in the Air Force Reserve. Now, that's a pretty impressive dossier, even if you're not the son of a highly honored public servant, which he is.
You've done a lot of homework, Stephen.
I've explained why I want to help. Rodney is Martin Peyton's grandson.
Maybe I better stop badgering you. Maybe your self-interest is the very insurance that Rodney needs.
Thank you.
I keep for gratitude. This won't be a tea party. Maybe you don't know it, but Fowler has been in office 2 years. During that time, he's rarely failed to get a conviction. Now, he doesn't prosecute as many cases as men in his position. He's very conservative in that respect. But he's very thorough.
Well, if that's true, then I'm a little surprised that you expect him to turn over his evidence without a formal motion being filed.
I said thorough, not devious. He's not the sort of man to win a case on surprise information. He's very adept at dramatizing facts already known to everyone else.
And ambitious.
Maybe. And ethical.
Maybe.
You seem to be getting a different picture of the same man. However, I won't neglect anything that could help Rodney's defense, even if it means looking at Fowler through what I consider the wrong end of a telescope. Hello? Put him on. Fine. How are you? All right, if it's important. About an hour? Good. You want to come over and have a talk? John Fowler.
Mrs. Carson thought you might like to read these.
Oh, thank you.
How's it going?
Well, I'm not allowed to answer any questions.
Well, I'm not here to ask them.
Mr. Dow's orders.
No, that's okay. I understand.
Well, why did you come?
Well, I thought it might help. You see, there are certain experiences that sort of set men apart from those that have never shared them before. Like war, for instance, or this. How do you know what it's like if you've never been there?
That's the worst of it. I haven't been there. And this is just the beginning. I don't know how I'm going to feel or act. Mr. Carson, were you afraid?
Sure. Everyone is.
When that fear hit me, it was like I swallowed a hunk of ice, and instead of melting, it gets larger. By the time I get into the courtroom,
you'll be all right.
No, I'm going to be afraid. I can tell.
Well, sure, you'll still have the fear, but you learn how to live with it.
I just don't want to fall apart in front of everyone.
You won't. You'll be fine. Got a lot of things going for you. Get a good lawyer who believes in your innocence.
Believing it and proving it are two different things.
Well, he doesn't have to prove it. See, you're innocent until you're proven guilty.
Well, Mr. Fowler must think he can prove it or I wouldn't be here.
Well, Mr. Fowler still has to get through the preliminaries, and even if he does, he'll be tried on the facts.
You were tried on the facts.
Well, I think that was a little different, Rodney.
Was it? If anything, the facts were more in your favor. You weren't even there when it happened. Paul Hanley thought he heard your voice arguing, and the jury bought it. Kim Schuster didn't hear. She can't hear. She saw. She saw me fight Chernock. She saw me throw the gapping hook. She saw him fall. Now, if you want to go by the facts, there they are.
Except for one fact. The most important one.
That I know I'm innocent.
Of course.
So did you, Mr. Carson.
Well, I'll see you later, Rob. Guard.
Mr. Carson. Would you thank Mrs. Carson for the books?
Oh, sure. I just took Rodney some books and magazines. Very kind of you. Well, I'm sure you're anxious to see him. I think it's time for you and me to talk, don't you? Yes. Yes, I do.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
I don't want to see Allison put through a ringer for the next few weeks.
I don't see how we can avoid it.
But you never sat through a murder trial.
There's one I wish I had.
I do need somebody. I'll always need you, Allison.
All I care about is getting Rodney out of this mess.
This mess you're talking about is called murder.